but someone told me that Ryan Reynolds actually was on set when this occurred, and he was the one that pressured this individual to perform the stunt.
Blake Lively, remember yesterday we talked about the cut. We're going to speak about that again because that journalist has got some deranged ideas of her own.
And I appear in this case as counsel for Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, and that's dated today. I see nothing yet to suggest that they let any of their other attorneys go.
Yeah, it's all they understand because they're bullies.
Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds have long been Hollywood's golden couple, glamorous, powerful, and seemingly untouchable. But after the intensifying legal battle between Blake and Justin Baldoni, the tide has dramatically shifted. Once beloved by fans and industry insiders alike, the couple is now at the center of a massive Hollywood fallout. Their attempts to control the damage have only backfired, leading many to question whether this is the beginning of their downfall. From PR disasters to shocking betrayals, this scandal has left no stone unturned.
It's almost better to let it breathe and let everything kind of simmer, calm down, see where people actually sit after a while, let everything come out, and then kind of, assess your strategy going forward.
Which is what Mr. Beast is doing.
Yeah, he's been waiting. But he has been communicating through surrogates. He's been calling friends who stream and talk, like his friend Ludwig it puts out drama videos and kind of reaction videos much more regularly. And so they clearly had a conversation, and Ludwig was able to relay that on his video, which has like a more niche audience. And so Mr. Beast doesn't need to do a main channel video to his 310 million subscribers saying...
And in Spanish.
Hollywood is watching, and it seems like Blake and Ryan's time at the top is running out. For years, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds have been seen as Hollywood's power couple. With successful careers, a perfect family, and A-list friendships, they had an unshakable public image. But the ongoing lawsuit between Blake and Justin Baldoni has completely shattered that illusion. What once seemed like a simple co-star conflict has spiraled into a full-fledged PR disaster. With Hollywood insiders now questioning their ethics, influence, and past behavior, the couple's reputation is taking a major hit.
But someone told me that Ryan Reynolds actually was on set when this occurred, and he was the one that pressured this individual to perform the stunt because of certain reasons that I'm not going to get into, because again, I want to verify everything. I will note that when I got my hands on the original investigative report that the government did, it's called Workplace BC because this occurred in Vancouver, British Columbia. We do have a list of people who were mentioned in the report who seem to be witnesses to the horrible tragedy that occurred. And one of the people was an executive producer whose name is redacted. It's very possible that that's Ryan Reynolds. There were 2 other executive producers. But the thing that I find very interesting is Deadpool 2 was the very first time that Ryan Reynolds ever achieved the PGA credit, okay? This is the same thing that everyone's been talking about, that the reason why Blake Lively was so intent on taking over the production, the marketing, the costume design, the composition of the music. These were all boxes that she had to check in order to get this accreditation that's very sought after in Hollywood. It's beyond just a vanity producer credit. It's an actual designation that if a film were to win Best Picture at the Oscars, you are the one that would receive an Oscar. So it's very sought after. And this was the first time that he received it. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because I think he was very involved on the set of Deadpool 2. And in reading this, the woman wasn't wearing a helmet. So the control freak Ryan Reynolds, who is now making fun of the set of It Ends With Us, like, oh, it's a bunch of monkeys running around not knowing what they're doing. I mean, how many people died on the set of It Ends With Us?
Desperate to control the damage, Blake has gone to extreme lengths, including hiring former CIA agents for public relations. Yes, you read that right. It seems Blake's team is doing everything possible to keep her image intact. But rather than regaining public sympathy, this move has only raised more questions. Why would someone so innocent need such a high level of PR control? Instead of silencing critics, it's making her look more guilty.
Blake Lively, remember yesterday we talked about the cut. We're going to speak about that again because that journalist has got some deranged ideas of her own. And then I just found out more about this very interesting background of E.J. Dixon. Also, the judge in Blake Lively's case just slapped down their psychopathic request for 2.5 years worth of every message that Justin Baldoni and Justin Heath and the PR agents have ever sent to everybody, plus location data. We knew that was going to happen. And we have obtained the audio of hotshot Ari Emanuel of WME, who describes himself as ride or die for the couple. And also great political news for those of us who are anti the never-ending war campaigns. J.D. Vance and Donald Trump just absolutely humiliated Zelensky in the Oval Office in front of cameras, and it is really glorious because I'm just so tired of funding of why somebody like Nick Shapiro, who Blake and Ryan have hired, might want to be launching a crisis PR firm after they leave the CIA. And he did hold on to his former security clearances. Now, he no longer holds on to those clearances because guess what? He lied to the public in a rather egregious way. He was one of the 51 former senior intelligence agents who signed that letter to gaslight us all in 2020, claiming that Hunter's laptop was Russian disinformation, which was just retrospectively an insane lie, an unbelievably bold lie. And then when that lie eventually fell apart, he had his clearance revoked. Again, I'm reading this from the Variety article. It says, quote, Shapiro is not without controversy. He was one of the group of 51 former senior intelligence officials.
As the backlash continues to grow, reports suggest that Blake and Ryan have quietly hired a new lawyer to handle their lawsuit. This could mean two things. Their previous legal strategy completely fell apart, or they are desperately trying to salvage what's left of their case. But switching legal teams mid-case is rarely a good sign. Could this be a last-ditch effort to avoid career-ending consequences?
Here in this case is counsel for Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, and that's dated today. I see nothing yet to suggest that they let any of their other attorneys go, so I asked a couple of lawyers what this could possibly mean. There are a few potential reasons for this, and one of them could be a change in strategy. They could be bringing in a new attorney who has a different perspective or a different approach. It could be strategic. They might think having more attorneys could strengthen their position. As the case progresses, things could become more complex, or they could just want help with an increasing workload. Or since we are still in the early stages of this lawsuit, they could just be looking for a second opinion. Now, I'm looking at this specific lawyer's bio.
As if things couldn't get any stranger, Blake Lively's PR agent has mysteriously disappeared from a crucial interview regarding the lawsuit. This has sparked speculation. Why would a major PR figure vanish at such a critical moment? Some believe that even her own team is trying to distance themselves from the controversy. Could it be that Blake's own people no longer want to be associated with this disastrous case?
All right, give me a break. As a former theater stage manager and techie, I can tell you that there is absolutely no way that the person involved with recording the sound for the Ari Emanuel interview would not have been checking and rechecking that the recording of this live event was happening. I've always known that Freakonomics is a bogus brand. Okay, well, I don't know about all that, but next sentence. This is not a brand. No, next sentence. Do not trust them. No. Okay, they got cooked by Ari Emanuel, Hollywood, and shamelessly threw their techies under the bus. Are you telling me that there was not a backup recording being made for just such an occurrence as is described in this video? The brand relies on access journalism. If any of you are thinking that this does not add up, listen to your gut. It doesn't add up. What a load of bollocks.
It's not just Hollywood insiders who are paying attention. Political commentators are now weighing in. Adam Carolla recently suggested that this case is a symbol of a major cultural shift in America. According to him, it represents more than just a Hollywood feud. Could this lawsuit expose deeper issues within the entertainment industry?
Yeah, it's all they understand because they're bullies. And they call everyone else bullies, but they're the bullies. And I said this years ago when I was interviewing Tucker Carlson for my podcast. He said, when does this end? I said, when we stop apologizing. Meaning, when they call you a racist, you don't say, but I have black friends. Stop it. Stop apologizing. We got screwed with COVID because people were scared. They don't understand anything but a punch in the face because they're bullies. So that's all we got. They're essentially terrorists. And we think we can negotiate with terrorists, and we can't. We have to eliminate them. And that's all they understand.
Adam, I know you're still working, doing your podcast. How you doing with the house?
As more details emerge, it's clear that Hollywood is losing faith in Blake Lively. Past controversies are now resurfacing, painting Blake in a completely different light. Some even claim that this backlash is long overdue, calling her a Hollywood mean girl with a history of manipulating the media. If there's one thing the internet never forgets, it's a scandal. And now Blake's past is coming back to haunt her.
She had an interview where she came off as rude, so people posted a bunch more interviews where she came off as rude. Then people posted other clips where she seemed snobby, and then the tranny thing came out. And so one observation I had, and you might see this in other places, like when someone starts getting canceled, people just come out of the woodwork. But it's like if a man gets accused of behaving like a lout, suddenly there's like 25 more women who came out, and where were you for the past 7 years? So it'll be like 13 years ago he groped me, and I didn't say anything now until I saw 4 other women come out. So I think the thing that happens is like when you're doing well, you actually don't see all the haters all at once.
Blake Lively has always been known for her close friendships with A-list celebrities, but it turns out many of those relationships were not as genuine as they seemed. A new report claims that Blake's longtime friendship with actress Michelle Trachtenberg was never real, despite their public interactions. If Blake was faking friendships for PR, it's no surprise that Hollywood is now turning against her.
The audacity. I knew she was going to post something acting like they were friends. Michelle couldn't stand Blake. I said, oh my God, what do you know? She said, nothing too crazy. It was just that Michelle was a real actor who had been acting for a long time, and she couldn't stand the way Blake didn't respect any part of it, especially other people's time, and the fact that she was always holding up set. Blake wasted everyone's time. Michelle did not like having her time wasted, and rightfully so. I don't know if Michelle Trachtenberg and Blake had an actual feud, or if they were, even important enough in each other's lives that they spoke about each other. I just don't think they were friends. I don't think Michelle cared that much about Blake. So for Blake to take this moment and make it about her, and this is what I'm saying, Blake Lively knows, she's smart enough to know that if she wrote about Michelle today, she would take attention and make it about her.
While the lawsuit initially focused on Blake and Justin, Ryan Reynolds is now fully entangled in the mess. Rumors suggest that Ryan used his industry influence to get Justin Baldoni dropped from their shared talent agency, WME. If true, this paints a completely different image of Ryan. For years, he has been known as Hollywood's funny, lovable guy, but this lawsuit could shatter that reputation forever. Could Ryan also be facing serious consequences?
Okay, so if you're new to the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni legal saga, I'm gonna break it down for you and catch you up to speed. So Gossip Girl agreed to do this movie that was based on a book by Colleen Hoover. And also in the movie was this dude from Jane the Virgin. And he also happened to be the director. And nobody really knew who he was, but they knew that he was all about dismantling toxic masculinity. And the movie happens to be about domestic violence. But you probably wouldn't have known that based off of how Blake Lively decided to market the film, which many fans took issue with. And this isn't the age of Adeline, it's the age of social media. So some of her old interviews resurfaced, and she was called out as a tone-deaf diva. And then months later, after everybody forgot, she decided to take legal action against Justin Baldoni. And she claims that all of these mean things that people were saying about her were an alleged smear campaign that he spearheaded against her. And it was all because he harassed her on the set, and it wasn't very yummy. And she thought she pulled a gotcha by releasing text messages from his team. And then he released the full thread and showed that there was manipulation of the text messages and the context. And then he released her text messages, which is where we learned that she's a ball buster, but never with teeth. And I guess the teeth come from Taylor Swift and Ryan Reynolds, who Blake Lively, the self-proclaimed Khaleesi, says are her dragons. And then Baldoni said, guess what? Winter is coming. And she said, but wait, there are other women. But the Sisterhood of the Traveling HR complains, want nothing to do with this, and none of them are speaking out.
With the lawsuit dragging on and their PR nightmares piling up, it seems like Hollywood is slowly turning its back on the couple. Reports suggest that Ryan and Blake were ignored and unwelcome at the recent SNL 50 event. A-list celebrities who once adored them are now avoiding them.
Speaking of big names you definitely will know, have you heard about what's happening with the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni case? All right, I'm just gonna walk because I actually held that. Can you hear me okay like this? Okay. Okay. Are you obsessed with this case? All right, there are millions of people who are obsessed with this case. I'm gonna give you a little background on it and then you will be obsessed with it. And I'll tell you, there's a reason why conservatives in particular are following this so closely. It makes sense to me. All right, so you know who Blake Lively is, right? Most people know her. Yeah, see, the people who are booing, they know. Then there's this guy, Justin Baldoni, who's not as well known. And yeah, see, they've been following the story. So he optioned this book called It Ends With Us, and it's about domestic violence. And he managed to get Blake Lively to star in his movie, Across From Him. Domestic violence, like a bottle of tequila, what? So it felt weird, and she started to get hit by some of the media for being insensitive. Then this one reporter re-upped a video in which she interviewed a then pregnant Blake, a then 8-month pregnant Blake, and kicked off the interview as you would do as a journalist if there's something obviously different about somebody physically by saying, "Oh, you have such a cute baby bump." And Blake was taken aback, even though it was obvious, and said, "Oh, so do you." The reporter was not pregnant. It was a nasty jibe at her for no reason. So normal people at home who don't care about this woman at all are looking at her like, I don't like her.
Despite their best efforts, Blake and Ryan's Hollywood dominance is crumbling. Their attempts to control the narrative have only made things worse, leading to more exposure, more criticism, and more isolation.
In which he represented a network reseller plaintiff challenging a Fortune 100 company's business practices. Matt also maintains an active pro bono practice representing military veterans in service discharge appeals, criminal defendants seeking clemency, and amicus curiae in key constitutional issues before the United States Supreme Court. If I have any legal professionals watching, please feel free to leave us a comment. Tell us what you think about all this. I also just want to say really quickly, thank you to everybody for helping me get to 10,000 subscribers. We made it to that benchmark last night, and then some. I can only hope things keep looking up. I'll be keeping an eye out on the docket as the judge will have to rule on the subpoena issue, as well as the issue of the protective order, which the parties went back and forth on yesterday. If you missed that coverage, you can go to my YouTube page under the live tab and you'll see me read those documents there. Don't forget, I'm also posting the documents as they come out to my Twitter account, LethalLauren904. And
this lawsuit has completely changed the way people see them, and unless they pull off a miracle, their time as Hollywood's golden couple might be coming to an end.